La Alianza Informativa Latinoamericana, fundada en 2005, está compuesta por 22 países. Busca afianzar la relación entre los medios de comunicación para optimizar recursos y ampliar contenidos a través de la cooperación. Con motivo de la 62ª Asamblea General y Encuentro de Asociados de la Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, AIL suscribió un acuerdo estratégico con esta organización.
Permitirá unir a América Latina con los países de Asia y Oceanía.
Convenios como este resultan muy beneficiosos para las dos partes.
Ahora podemos mostrar nuestro contenido desde Asia Pacific con todos los miembros de AIL y pueden utilizar el contenido para ustedes. En todas partes del mundo es una elección. En los canales de noticias es muy común compartir historias y contenidos de varios lugares para todo el mundo.
Con este acuerdo, los miembros de AIL en Latinoamérica tendrán acceso a 226 canales de 66 países de Asia y Oceanía y a infinidad de contenidos informativos y culturales que nos permitirán conocer más sobre ese lado del mundo.
The Trump administration's announcement that it conducted a new kinetic strike against an alleged drug trafficking speedboat in the Caribbean Sea on Monday marks a new escalation in the military strategy to put pressure on the Venezuelan president Nicolas Maduro, whom the White House accuses of personally being the leader of a drug cartel. Maduro has been indicted since at least 2019. However, he has repeatedly denied this allegation. CNN has asked for a reaction to Caracas about this new incident, and we're waiting to hear back. However, earlier on Monday, Maduro has this to say about the U.S. Secretary Marco Rubio, whom he accuses of being personally behind this military escalation.
¿Quién?
Who? Marco Rubio. They now call him the Lord of Death and War. Wherever he goes, there is death, there are bombs, there are murdered children. Marco Rubio, the Lord of Death, War, and Hatred.
The Secretary of State is yet to respond to this latest attack from the Venezuelan leader. Caracas has repeatedly accused Rubio in particular of trying to build a case for an open confrontation, an open warfare between Washington and Venezuela. In recent weeks, Maduro has given signals to the White House that he is ready for negotiations with Trump, perhaps even considering a meeting in person with the US president, while at the same time singling out Rubio. And Rubio, is worth noting that it comes from a constituency in South Florida where a lot of several Venezuelan conservatives, expatriates, have moved in recent weeks. So that's the reason why there is the singling out against the Secretary of State. It's yet to be seen whether the strategy from Caracas will be successful in trying to reduce this tension, but it's definitely interesting noting that at the same time Trump has not ruled out an even further escalation and actions directly on Venezuelan soil in the weeks to come.
Delegaciones de China y Estados Unidos sostuvieron en Madrid una comunicación franca, profunda y constructiva basada en el respeto mutuo y las consultas igualitarias sobre economía y comercio, incluyendo TikTok. Durante su reunión en Madrid, las delegaciones de China y Estados Unidos llegaron a un consenso marco básico para la resolución de las cuestiones relacionadas con la red social TikTok mediante la cooperación, la reducción de las barreras a la inversión y la promoción de la cooperación económica y comercial. El gobierno chino examinará y aprobará los asuntos pertinentes relacionados con TikTok, como la exportación de la tecnología y la licencia de uso de la propiedad intelectual de conformidad con las leyes y reglamentos pertinentes. Wang aseguró que ambas partes resolverán el asunto de TikTok a través de métodos como la operación encomendada del negocio de seguridad de datos y contenidos de los usuarios estadounidenses de TikTok y el permiso para el uso de algoritmo y otros derechos de propiedad intelectual. Li subrayó que China priorizó alcanzar un consenso con Estados Unidos, pero advirtió que seguirá oponiéndose a que Washington amplíe indebidamente el concepto de seguridad nacional y aumente la lista de sanciones contra entidades chinas.
Agencia de Aviacion KLM na Hulanda lo huelga amanhã, dia 7 de setembro. Última huelga
kutaptata 10 de septiembre, KLM a cancelar más de 100 vuelos, un huelga de 8 horas de mañana para 10 horas de mañana, y a afectar más de 27.000 pasajeros. Mañana, 7 de septiembre, el sindicato holandés de KLM lo huelga fue de 8 horas de mañana de 10 horas de mediodía. Según operaciones de KLM, ha informado que lo trae un impacto significante. KLM ha hecho un acuerdo colectivo de salario con 3 sindicatos chiquitos, y Saki apone que una huelga fue la semana pasada. Ha informado que el aumento del salario no es suficiente y no hace ningún cambio para trabajadores que hacen trabajo físico pesado.
Hollywood legend and leading man Robert Redford had many roles in front of the camera as well as behind it. He was a true filmmaker and will always be remembered for many iconic films.
She denies even knowing about the conversation.
All the President's Men.
Look, I don't know when I'll be back.
And The Way We Were. 1969's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was his first blockbuster film, starring alongside Paul Newman.
Hands up, keep them up!
They also co-starred in The Sting, for which he was nominated for Best Actor in 1974. Redford was cast as the romantic leading man in films like The Great Gatsby and Out of Africa, a label that followed him throughout his life, even as he became older.
I see myself the way others saw me. I was kind of feeling trapped because I couldn't go outside the box of leading man or good-looking leading man. It was very flattering, but it was feeling restrictive. So it took many years to break loose of that.
Redford won a Best Director Oscar in 1981 for Ordinary People. He directed A River Runs Through It, Quiz Show, and many other films. A native Californian, he was born in Santa Monica in 1936. As Los Angeles grew, so did Redford's love for protecting the environment.
Grew up respecting nature because what happened to Los Angeles? It was a city as a child during the end of the Second World War that I loved, and it was a beautiful city, and the air was clean. And then what happened after the war was suddenly there were skyscrapers and there was pollution. It felt like the city that I loved as a child was taken away from me, so I moved away from that in sadness.
Redford moved to New York City to pursue an acting career on Broadway in the late 1950s. His big breakout role there was in Neil Simon's Barefoot in the Park, a role he would later reprise on the big screen with co-star Jane Fonda. But after several years on Broadway, Redford left the glitz and glamour behind and in 1961 moved to Utah, where he bought 2 acres of land for just $500 and built a cabin for his family.
I discovered how important nature was in my life, and I wanted to be where nature was extreme and where I thought it could be maybe everlasting.
Avid environmentalist, he bought more land over the years in Park City, Utah, and turned it into the Sundance Institute in 1981, a nonprofit dedicated to independent filmmakers. And 4 years later, started the Sundance Film Festival to showcase their work.
Press came, then fashion came, and when fashion came, the paparazzi came. So these are kind of like tiers that formed outside of what we were doing. And that's fine, that's their business, but it's not who we are.
And his love for the environment continued.
As years went on, I became more and more convinced that nature played a great role in our lives but wasn't being treated fairly. And so I got committed to preserving that.
But he didn't stop acting and directing and was awarded an honorary Oscar in 2002 for his contributions to filmmaking.
I want to make the most of what I've been given. And you keep pushing yourself forward, you try new things, and that's invigorating. I guess I found out that rather than retiring, that just feels better. Just keep moving as long as you can keep moving.